The party was beautiful. You had to give them that. We were at a sprawling, luxury lake house, the kind with floor-to-ceiling windows and a dock big enough to land a small plane on. My father, Robert, stood up, tapping his champagne glass. The summer air was warm, but his smile was cool. I just want to thank my amazing daughter, Chloe. He beamed, gesturing to the driveway, for the unbelievable 60th birthday gift. That $150,000 Porsche Taycan. I'm speechless. Honey, he wasn't done. And to my nephew, Ryan, bringing that $200,000 ski boat up for us. Son, that's what success looks like. The patio erupted in applause. Then, his eyes found me, standing alone by the railing. His smile tightened, saturated with pity. And, "A toast," he said, his voice softening just enough to be cruel. "To my other daughter, Ilara, who's, well, she's still figuring things out. But at 32, honey, it's never too late to get a real job." The laughter that followed wasn't loud. It was worse. It was polite. It was knowing. When was the last time someone in your own family made you feel small? Let me know your story down in the comments. I didn't cry. I didn't flush with anger. Anger wasn't loud this time. It was clinical. I held their gaze, took a sip of my champagne, and smiled. To family? I said, my voice perfectly clear. I set my glass down on the railing, the crystal clicking softly. "Excuse me for a moment." I turned and walked away from the patio. I walked past the shimmering, metallic gray Porsche, all $150,000 of it. I walked past Ryan's gleaming white ski boat, a $200,000 toy bobbing gently by the dock. These were the symbols of their world, the things that made them feel real. I walked to the absolute end of the long dock, the picture of isolation. The polite, pitying laughter was still audible behind me. I reached into the pocket of my simple dress and pulled out what my family called my clunky prototype device. It was a heavy, metallic block, about the size of a hard drive, with a single, dark screen. My cousin Morgan, the influencer, had picked it up earlier. "Ilara, what is this, a retro power bank from, like, 2005? It's iconic." In a sad way, it wasn't a power bank. It was a quantum-encrypted hard key. My thumb pressed against the dark biometric scanner. The screen flickered to life, not with apps, but with a single, secure icon. I made one call. It connected on the first ring. No greeting. "David." A crisp, professional voice came through the encrypted line. "Go ahead, ma'am." My voice was quiet, carried away by the lake breeze. "It's Ilara. Green light the Ether protocol. Full deployment. Estimated time of arrival, 45 minutes. There was no hesitation on the other end. "Confirmed. Ma'am, protocol greenlit. Assets are being mobilized." I hung up. I didn't cancel a credit card. I didn't send an angry text. I summoned my proof. My family thought my business was a college project I'd pathetically clung to for a decade. A little website. My mother, Linda, had once called it, her voice full of pained concern. Aether AI wasn't a little website. It was a $4.5 billion global artificial intelligence logistics company. I had founded it 8 years ago, anonymously, while my sister, Chloe, was selling condos and my cousin Ryan was trading stocks. I was building the invisible neural network that managed autonomous supply chains for governments and Fortune 500 companies. For years, I had endured this. Every holiday was an interrogation. "How's the little computer club?" Ilara Uncle Richard would boom. "Still playing with code in that tiny apartment." I'd just smile. "It's going well. Thanks." There was no point in explaining. It would have been like trying to describe the color blue to someone who had only ever seen gray. I stared out at the water. which was turning a deep purple as the sun set. The clock was ticking. 44 minutes. I walked back toward the house. The sound of the party washing over me. The polite laughter. The clinking of ice in expensive glasses. It was a performance. And everyone knew their part. I had 40 minutes. As I stepped onto the flagstone patio, my cousin Morgan, the influencer, pointed. She wasn't pointing at me, but past me, toward the gravel guest path where I'd parked. Oh my God. Elada, is that your car? Her voice was a high-pitched trill. A perfect blend of fascinated horror and mock sympathy. My 10-year-old sedan. The paint was faded. There was a scratch on the passenger side fender from a parking garage pillar in Seoul. It was parked 100 yards from Chloe's brand new, metallic gray Porsche. My car wasn't just a car. In their world, it was a statement of failure. My cousin Ryan laughed. I'm surprised that thing made it up the hill. Lara, seriously, you should let me look at it. I'll give you $500 for it. For parts? It's reliable? I said. My voice flat. It's embarrassing. Chloe corrected. Not even looking at me. Just swirling the wine in her glass. We have guests. Elada. It's like you're not even trying. Embarrassing. That was their favorite word for me. My car was embarrassing. My small apartment in the city was embarrassing. My fantasy project was embarrassing. For years, I tried to explain. When I was 24, I tried to show my father the predictive logistics model I was building. He patted me on the head and told me to get my head out of the clouds and apply for a management trainee program at the local bank. When I closed my first 7-figure contract, I mentioned it to my mother. She just smiled that tight, pained smile and said, "That's nice. Dear, did you hear Chloe just got a $12,000 bonus and was named Agent of the Month?" So I stopped trying. This wasn't a family. It was an audience that only applauded one kind of show. I realized then, my family has a fatal flaw. They are victims of the fallacy of visible success. They are psychologically incapable of valuing what they cannot physically touch, what they can't post on Instagram. A Porsche, a boat, a lake house. These things are real. They are a scorecard you can show to the world. My success, my empire, is invisible. It's 10 million lines of code processing, a billion data points a second. It's a neural network that, at this very moment, is diverting an autonomous cargo fleet around a storm in the North Atlantic. It's a digital protocol that just secured a new energy patent. To them, if it's not parked in the driveway, it simply doesn't exist. My clunky device vibrated in my hand. A silent, encrypted alert from David. Singapore, contract auto-renewed. $1.2 million wire transfer confirmed. Tokyo server farm is at 98% capacity. I swiped confirm on the transfer and typed, authorize expansion in Tokyo. Deploy backup servers. No. Seriously. Elada. Ryan pressed. Leaning in, his breath smelling like whiskey. You're holding onto that junk heap like it's a treasure. What's wrong with you? I looked up from authorizing a multi-million-dollar expansion. You're right. Ryan, it's just, I'm attached to it. He snorted. Attached to that. You're unbelievable. I smiled. A real smile this time. You have no idea. 35 minutes. When I walked back to the patio, the party music seemed to dip. Just for a second, the laughter died. I felt the shift. It was the collective adjustment of a group preparing for an unpleasant but necessary task. My mother, Linda, and my Aunt Susan detached themselves from a conversation by the fireplace and intercepted me. Their faces were identical masks of practiced, profound concern. Elada, honey, my mother started, her voice a soft, cooing whisper, the one she used when I was a child and had fallen. Who were you talking to out there on the dock? You look so intense. We're just worried about you. Aunt Susan nodded, her eyes wide with a terrible, moist sympathy. It's this. thing you've been working on. Dear, this ether project, it's been 8 years now. We see you struggling. And it breaks our hearts. Struggling? To them, my focus was a struggle. My privacy was a pathology. My quiet competence was a cry for help. I wasn't performing happy in the way they understood it. So I must be unwell. My sister, Chloe, sauntered over. A fresh glass of white wine in her hand, she was the picture of effortless, visible success. She's probably just embarrassed. Mom, it's fine. She turned to me. Her smile a perfectly polished razor blade. Ilada, listen, it's okay that your protocol thing is a failure. Seriously, it is. Not everyone is cut out for this stuff. It's okay to admit you're in over your head. She took a delicate sip. I'll even make you a deal. You can come work for me. Be my personal assistant. You're organized. You can. Organize my open houses. Get coffee. She smiled. The picture of magnanimity. I'll even let you drive my old car. The Mercedes. It's still in the garage. Well, it's better than that. Heap, you've got parked out there. A pity job, and the keys to her cast-offs. This was her absolution. This was the ultimate performance, the successful, generous sister saving the delusional one. She wasn't just offering help, she was cementing her own position at the top of the family food chain. Then, my father, Robert, stepped in. His arms were crossed. This wasn't concern. This was a verdict. Your mother's right to be worried, he said. His voice low and firm. Your aunt is worried. I'm worried. We're all worried you're having a breakdown. Ilada, a breakdown. The word hung in the air. This ether fantasy has to stop, he continued, his voice rising just enough to command the patio. You are 32 years old. You are not a kid in a garage anymore. You are an adult woman with no car, no house, and no future. He sighed, a sound of profound, weary disappointment. It is time to face reality. The whole family was watching now. My cousins, my uncle, all of them, nodding. It was a consensus. It was an official diagnosis. Ilara is unwell. Ilara is the problem. Ilara has failed. I looked at their circle of concerned, judgmental faces. They had written a story for me, and in it, I was the tragic character. A breakdown. I repeated. My voice was quiet. Clinical. Face reality. I said, more to myself than to them. I looked up at my father. What reality would you like me to face? Dad. He scoffed. His patience finally breaking. He was angry that I wasn't crumbling, that I wasn't weeping and accepting their help. The reality where you're not a CEO, he snapped. The reality where you're not running some global protocol from a toy. The reality where you are just our daughter. Who needs help? This wasn't an intervention. It was an execution. And they had no idea I was the one holding the axe. My clunky device vibrated in my hand. A silent, steady pulse. A lifeline. A timer. I didn't even look at it. I already knew. 25 minutes. I was standing there, a statue in the middle of their party, while my clunky device vibrated in my hand. A silent, steady pulse against my palm. A secure message from David Chen, my head of operations, scrolled across the dark screen. Ma'am, assets are airborne. All 5 units. We are routing through restricted airspace. Do you confirm authorization? ETA 25 minutes. I typed back a single word, confirm. Execute ether protocol. All assets. No exceptions. Chloe saw me. Still on that little phone. Ilara, who are you texting? Your imaginary friends. More logistics. My cousin Ryan laughed. Walking over from the bar. He was on his 4th whiskey. and his face was flushed with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no. "Are you ordering an Uber?" he asked. His voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Because that 10-year-old sedan of yours looks like it's about to die. I'm serious. I don't think it'll make it down the driveway." The patio laughed again. It was such an easy, familiar joke. Alara and her failure. I looked up at him, my eyes empty of all the emotions they expected. No anger. No humiliation. Just calculation. Something like that. I said. I checked the time on my device's screen. 24 minutes. Ryan's smile faltered. "What's that 24 minutes till what your Uber gets here?" "Alara, stop being cryptic. It's weird." My mother snapped. Her patience gone. "It's not weird, Mom," Ryan said, his voice dropping into a conspiratorial, mocking tone. "It's a game. She's pretending. This thing." And then he did it, with a drunk, sloppy confidence. He lunged for the device in my hand. "Let me see this clunky toy you're so obsessed with. What's the big deal? Is it your Ether protocol?" His fingers brushed the metallic casing. The reaction was not human. It was instantaneous and violent. A high-pitched, digital shriek tore through the quiet, lakeside evening. It wasn't just loud, it was an electronic, deafening alarm. The music cut out, every conversation stopped. The device in my hand, the clunky toy, was now flashing a blinding, crimson-red light, pulsing in rhythm with the alarm. Every head on that patio snapped toward me. And on the screen, a new message from David appeared, overriding all others. In stark, block letters, "Security alert. Security alert. Unauthorized access attempt. Biometrics failed. Location, your position. Ma'am. Is the asset compromised?" Ryan had frozen, his hand half extended, his face drained of all color. The sheepish, drunken grin was gone, replaced by a pale, slack-jawed terror. I, he stammered. I was just kidding. I just wanted to see." My father, Robert, stepped forward, his face furious. Not at Ryan, but at me. "Alara, what is that? Turn that noise off. You're making a scene." I didn't turn it off. I looked at Ryan. My voice, when it came out, was so cold it cut through the shriek of the alarm. "You have no idea what you just did." I held my thumb against the biometric scanner. The alarm stopped instantly. The red light vanished. The patio was plunged into a deafening silence. "Security compromised." The screen read, "Initiating lockdown Y divided by N." I typed, "Standby. Asset is secure. Log the attempt. Biometric signature Ryan last name. Time 1943. David's reply was immediate. "Logging. Legal will be notified." "Alara? This isn't funny," my mother said, her voice shaking. You planned this to scare us." I turned my head slowly and looked at my cousin. He was still pale, trying to get his swagger back, trying to laugh it off. It's just a toy. Right, just a loud toy." I shook my head, not in sadness, but in clinical finality. "You just tried to physically access a quantum-encrypted hard key. Ryan, you just tried to bypass a biometric-secured federal database. Aether AI holds active logistics contracts with the Department of Defense." I let the words hang in the silence. What you just did, attempting to access a secure system of that level, that is not a joke. That is a felony. A federal offense. Ryan's glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the flagstones. "Oh, stop being so dramatic," my father boomed, though his voice now had a tremor of uncertainty. "Federal offense, don't be ridiculous. It's a box. You're just trying to humiliate him. You're pathetic." Pathetic. I looked at my father. You're right. I'm being ridiculous. I turned my gaze to the sky. Over the dark. Kia Lake. He'll see. I said. See what Chloe snapped. Your imaginary lawyers, your imaginary assets. I just smiled. 20 minutes. Pathetic, my father's voice rang out. Chloe laughed. A sharp, ugly sound. A federal offense, Alara. You've really lost it. You're actually insane. I'm not, I said. My voice quiet. Looking past them to the dark lake. They're 2 minutes out. 2 minutes, till what my father demanded. The fantasy police show up. Just as the words left his mouth, it started. Not a sound, but a feeling. A deep, vibrating hum that made the glasses on the table tremble. What is that? Chloe snapped. Annoyed. My mother's voice was suddenly small. Robert, my uncle, who'd been silent all night, just pointed a shaking finger at the sky. Look. 5 points of white light appeared. In perfect V formation, they glided over the lake, 5 sleek, black drones, each the size of a small car. Shaped like manta rays, they were silent. Futuristic. A technology that shouldn't exist? They hovered, bathing the entire patio in a brilliant white light. And then, as one, they descended. With a faint pneumatic hiss, they settled perfectly on the long wooden dock. My family was frozen. My father's face was white. Chloe was just shaking her head, whispering, "No. No. No." My head of operations, David Chen, stepped out of the shadows. Holding a tablet, he walked past my frozen family and stood before me. "Ma'am, the Ether Wing Fleet." As requested, I took the tablet and continued, his voice calm and professional. The $120 million government contract is on screen 2. And the real rental agreement for this lake house is on screen 3. My team booked it for this logistics test. My father made a small, choking sound. I looked at David. Log the security breach. We'll deal with Ryan on Monday. I finally turned to my family. This is Aether AI. I said, gesturing to the silent machines. This is my fantasy project. I held up the tablet. This is the $120 million contract. And this is the rental agreement. My failure paid for your entire birthday party. Dad, you all failed. But, Elara, my mother stammered. Your family. I just looked at her. And I felt quiet. I realized, in that moment, you have to stop waiting for apologies from people who are incapable of self-reflection. Letting go of a bloodline isn't a single, dramatic act. It's the slow, quiet realization that the only person who can save you is you. David, I said, turning away from them, have the drones pack up all the catering, the filet mignon, the desserts. My dev team in Palo Alto is working late. They deserve this. My real family, the one I built, my justice wasn't destroying them. It was the simple, undeniable fact that I created this. David held the door of the lead drone open. I walked past my speechless family, stepped inside, and didn't look back. The door hissed shut. As we lifted off, I saw them below, small, speechless, and irrelevant, bathed in the white light of my creation. Success isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet hum of an engine you built yourself. If you've ever built your victory in silence, share this story. Let them know